least Norm of the North wasn't the only animated film to come out this year. Yes, indeed, we are talking about Kung Fu Panda 3, which is the third installment of the Kung Fu Panda franchise. Now, for those of you who don't know, I loved the first two movies. The first one was amazing. The second one took things to a whole new level. I'm talking better fight sequences, better animation, better action, better moments that kind of make you cry a little, and the film in its entirety was incredible overall. And then we have a third movie in the trilogy, which sounds good to me, but at the same time, to me seems odd considering the fact that this is going to be released in January. So it might be the best January film of the year, right? I mean, this film was supposed to be released in Christmas time, but then it got held back to January. Wanna know why? I'll give you a hint. It's Star Wars. And then we have Kung Fu Panda 3 in January. So in Kung Fu Panda 3, all this time, Po finally meets up with his dad. Yeah! But as soon as the father and son are getting along, he finally gets to see more of his kind. Yeah! But then this maleficent entity known as Kai is trying to take over China. Again. Aww. But with all the training and with all the awesomeness that Po will say around 50 times in the movie, he will soon defeat Kai once and for all. Yeah! So what did I think of the movie? Well, it's not as good as the first two. Aww. Yeah, it easily pains me to say this, but don't get me wrong, I still really enjoyed this movie. I'm just going to illustrate what I find things that are wrong with this movie, but first, let's get over with the positives. First off, the animation. DreamWorks knows how to make great animated films. Kung Fu Panda 3 is still on the same level as those two movies, and they're really good. And there were some moments that I laughed here and there, and I really enjoyed the humor of this movie. And yes, the action is great. Of course, it's called Kung Fu Panda 3. Of course, you're gonna get some action. It's not like The Warrior's Way, where you get to see Kung Fu for the last 5 minutes. But yes, the action is really good, but still is not as great as the second one, nor the first one. And let's get to the bad parts, because this is not a bad movie. Just listen to me. This is not a bad movie. I'm just listing some of the negatives about this film, because hopefully you might agree with me on this. Because like in the first two movies, at portions it was kid-friendly, but in the majority of all the scenes, they took things to a dark, sincere, and serious level. It had those moments in Kung Fu Panda 1, and it absolutely did in the sequel, which took things to a whole new, different level. I'm talking people in the theater in tears. Not one of those tears tattooed in the biker's eyes, but actual tears. And that's what made the first two movies excellent. Here, not so much. Out of the entire movie, it's all basically kid-friendly, which people don't seem to have a problem with, because once you look back at the first two movies and how serious and raw and good they were, in this movie you don't feel like the stakes are high, you don't feel like anything is serious and emotional at all. In fact, you are in the theater begging for an emotional moment to happen, or some really, really dark moments. In the movie, you get none of that. Now, basically, my humble opinion, this film is 96 minutes long, and I just honestly think that the story itself was really just rushed. It's like they're in like this little significant lesson or a little bit of plot details. But then the script all of a sudden is like, oh, fight scene, let's go over there. Or something like, Dad?
Yes, Po.
I really can't believe that you're my dad.
Neither did I, son.
Me too. Oh, look, Master Rhino's armor. Let's get in that.
Yeah!
Because, you really want some emotional moments in there. But then it's ruined by something that's happened, like some fight scene. Oh, we gotta get to this fight scene right there. Or, oh, we gotta have a fun montage with the kids and the pandas. Now let's talk about the villain. You know what I'm talking about. Kai. Kung Fu Panda is known for their great villains. Allow me to reiterate some of the greatest villains in DreamWorks movies. Tai Lung, a snow leopard who got out of jail and ended up beating the heck out of the Furious Five and Master Shifu. Lord Shin, an imperial prince who decides to commit genocide across pandas and try to destroy them all. And now we have Kai, a villain who steals someone's chi, and that's it. Oh, and he has the Blades of Chaos, so that's great. So yeah, we all know Kai is played by J.K. Simmons, who happens to be really good at playing villains at times. I mean, seriously, look at Whiplash. But in this movie, he's just not a good standout villain. Because with characters like Tai Lung and Lord Shin, you truly understand their motivations, and you actually feel like they're a real threat to China. And here, it's just a villain just for Poe to beat. He's not standout in any way, shape, or form. He's just the kind of villain that you expect Poe to beat just because he's the villain that needs to be beaten. Now, with my final thoughts on Kung Fu Panda 3, it's good. It's not amazing as the first two, but it generally does have some great animations, some funny parts here and there, and some really good action. But the film was less dark and less serious than I thought it was going to be, because looking back at those two films, they were serious, and this one, it's kinda lighthearted in some way. You don't feel that the stakes are high in any way. The story feels completely rushed, and the main villain wasn't really stand out in any way. Kung Fu Panda 3 for me gets a 3.5 out of 5. Alright guys, that is my review for Kung Fu Panda 3. Comment below, let me know what you thought about the movie. Find me on Facebook, Google+, or private message me on YouTube if you feel like it. My name is Luke Nukem, and you have been blown away.